Thank you all for being here. Today is a great day for transparency in America because today I'm proud to announce the creation of the Task Force on the Declassification of Federal Secrets. Last month, President Trump signed an executive order to begin the process to declassify information on the assassinations of JFK, RFK, and MLK. For far too long, the American people have had reasonable questions of what their government keeps hidden about certain issues. The federal government has not answered these questions. This creates distrust in our institutions. That ends today.
For too long, the American spirit has been dimmed by a veil of secrecy, by a government that has grown too comfortable in the shadows, denying us the transparency we deserve. But today, we stand at the dawn of a new era where the light of truth begins to shine through. A few weeks ago, President Donald Trump made a historic announcement. With the stroke of a pen, he committed to declassifying the files concerning the assassinations of President John F. Kennedy, Robert F. Kennedy, and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., a decision not just monumental, but pivotal. Together with the help of the White House, our intelligence allies, the Department of Defense, the Department of Justice, we will be conducting investigations into the following: the assassinations of JFK, RFK, and Dr. Martin Luther King, unidentified aerial phenomena, also known as UAPs, unidentified submerged objects, also known as USOs, the Epstein client list, the origins of COVID-19, and the 9/11 files. This task force will be a beacon of bipartisanship. On the Republican side, Representatives Burchett, Boebert, Burleson, Crane, Gill, and Mace will be joining me, although I'd like to note that I'm expanding this to the entire governing body and will be allowing certain members to waive on. Our first hearing is set for March. The date will be announced soon, and we've already initiated close to a dozen communications with various agencies, to include Pam Bondi at the Department of Justice and the Secretary of State. This will no longer be a task force that makes bold promises only to fade into irrelevance or send strongly worded letters. This will be a relentless pursuit of truth and transparency, and we will not stop until the American people have the answers they deserve. We will cut through the bureaucracy, challenge the stonewalling, and ensure that the American people finally get the truth that they have been denied for too long. It is my solemn duty to begin mending this trust, to form a new relationship between the government and the governed. Let us embark on this journey together towards a government that does not serve, but one that enlightens. That does not just serve, but one that enlightens. Trust through transparency, that begins now.
The FBI says it has new information about one of the United States' biggest mysteries. The Bureau says it has found 2,400 new records related to the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. This discovery comes as federal agencies work to comply with President Trump's executive order to release thousands of classified files. The documents are now making their way to the National Archives for the declassification process. So
extraterrestrial life on planet Earth. One of the things you said in an interview, you talked about a conversation you had with a U.S. admiral. They tell me something's moving at hundreds of miles an hour underwater, as large as a football field underwater. This was a documented case, and I have an admiral telling me this stuff. What do you believe exists on Earth in terms of extraterrestrial life, and what have you seen proof of?
Well, there's some things I've seen proof of that I can't discuss, and I've urged the White House to disclose these things. You know, they spend hundreds of millions of dollars researching something, and then you have one group telling us they don't exist, and I have the best pilots in the world telling me, Tim, this thing was 14 feet from my canopy, and he did this, and I've seen things that I wish the public could see.
I think at a certain point, this is where my frustration with this, having been in the trenches doing this, is trying to make some sense out of this for 35 years. I started my project in 1990 when I was 34. I'm 69 now. So you get into this question of, well, will it be another 80 years before this comes out in any effective way? We're going to sit on our hands? I have 3 separate people, don't know each other, that are in comm centers, communication centers, where somehow they have intercepted traffic communications, non-human intelligence craft, where because at the rate at which we have reverse engineered ET technology and now have turned it into weapon systems against them, there's a red line that we're going to cross. And in other words, if we don't fix this problem, there are forces out in space way more powerful than anything, and certainly more powerful than the president. And, we're going to have to learn to live together in peace on the planet, but also in space. Because when you cross the nuclear threshold, and that's what we've done with these technologies, you're talking about systems, when they're weaponized, that are much more destructive than a thermonuclear weapon. And those are in the hands of the worst possible people. They are not under the control of we the people and our representatives, or the president or Congress. So am I saying this as a warning? I am. Because I know for a fact that we have crossed that red line, and we are using technologies that are extraordinary against these people. And at what point? Now, they're not hostile, but they're also not going to let humans, who are a bunch of psychopaths and sociopaths, who run these programs, and they are.